Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Chia-Fen Chi Christine. And then if you're interested in the paper, you can simply type HMEP. And about the third options is going to be this paper. So the reason why I come here to make a presentation is because after we published the paper, no one seemed to really pay attention to it. So then that's the reason why I come here to present it. So then maybe we will catch the right attention. Okay. And I actually got my degree really early, like 1990. So after 34 years of hard work, luckily I get the fellow this year. So maybe it's a good chance to encourage everyone to continue working hard. Okay, so some of the background for this research. At the year of 2003, 2005, I was the president of the Ergonomics Society in Taiwan. So then at the time, I was invited to do the translation for human factors training manual, and it has about 300 pages. So every day when I wake up, I have to translate about 10 pages. And that was the good chance for me to understand what is going on with the human factors in aviation. And after doing that, I didn't get any chance to focus on aviation until after 13 years. I actually get invited to be the vice chair for the Aviation Safety Council for Taiwan. And at the time, then I start thinking, why don't I do something about it as research? Because otherwise I kept reading the report and then not actually knowing what's going on for the essence report. So that was the motivation for doing this research. And so then it's actually, I started from study occupational accidents and then try to, for this one, it's a helicopter accident. And eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to do more about regular aircraft. So for this research, the main idea was about categorization. The reason is because categorization gives us a way to describe an item to others, and then it provides a connection between ideas for similarity and differences. And also, if we put things into mental category, it can improve our memory. So that was the whole idea about this research. And for those of you who have known about accident analysis, you must be familiar with the model, the cheese model proposed by Reasons. So this cheese model allows us to be able to know there is the difference between latent failure and active failure. And also, I think I spoke with Dr. Bernard. You're here, right? So yesterday you told me that you were doing HFACs. So for HFACs, everybody here must know that HFACs consists of four major categories. It's the organizational influence, unsafe supervision, precondition for unsafe acts, and then the unsafe acts. And one of the reasons why I thought about doing this was that when I try to apply the HFACs, I feel that it's not too easy to differentiate between some of the categories. And there are also some of the redundancies in this model. So then that's the reason why I think, hey, maybe it's a good idea to look into it. And one of the second categorization I have tried to adopt into this research is the safety factor that is proposed by the Australian Transportation Safety Board. So for the safety factor, it's kind of similar. They take into organizational influence, risk control, local condition, technical failure, and then individual action. One thing that I couldn't really understand is that what is the local condition? So then some of the local condition gets overlapping with other category. So that's also some challenge for me. And then I move on to the latest accident coding system that is proposed by the International Air Transportation Association in 2019. And this one, it takes into account the latent condition and then the threats, the flight crew error, undesired aircraft state, and then the flight crew countermeasures and some of the additional classifications. So these are all different kind of classification system for analyzing aviation accident. And then because of the helicopter accident was not so many in Taiwan, so they will be able to use all the three systems. So initially we proposed, why don't we code and analyze the root cause of the 22 helicopter accident in Taiwan? So then we use the hatchback, we use the safety factor, we use the IOTA system developed based on the threat error management framework to do the analysis. And after we coded it, and then, so this was just some brief introduction about why helicopter accident is so many in Taiwan. So the basic is that after we coded, let me just try to move on to this one, is easier. So after we try to apply the three models to code the 22 helicopter accidents investigated by the Taiwan Transportation Safety Board, and we find that many root cause could not be coded easily using the existing three coding system. And that's the reason why we think, hey, maybe it's a good idea that we can come up with something new by taking advantage of each individual coding system. So the way we do it is that we actually didn't have the HMEP here at the beginning. So this was empty. So we try to code HVACs, we try to code ATSB, we try to code the IOTA. And eventually, because there were lots of factors that could not be coded, so then we try to come up with a system that allows us to be able to code everything and then try to remove the one that's redundant. So that was the whole idea. Okay, so the idea was based on the human machine environment model that was proposed by Japanese and then proposed by the Chinese guy, man-machine environment system. And basically there are 5 top layers. So it's the organizational influence, people management, technical failure, procedure, and documentation. I think this is something important in aviation because we always require our pilots and everybody to follow the SOP. And then it's the environment. So let me just quickly go over. So this is going to be the overview. And for example, for the first category, the organizational influence, we try to adopt everything from other models. So for example, the inadequate supervision and management start from lack of formal oversight system, inappropriate supervision, and then fail to provide appropriate policy. So the second one is the manufacturer, and then the third one is the company. So then you can see there is a very clear hierarchy. The hierarchy comes from government supervision, goes to manufacturer, and then goes to airline company management. So it's a very clear hierarchy that we try to follow. This was because lots of experience that we have done for analyzing the occupational accidents. And then we have people's management, starting from selection training, and then roasting or then not firing procedure. And the latest one, we try to differentiate between not firing procedure and not handling the aircraft in the right way. And then there are lots of personal factors. So the second one and then the third one, these are the technical failure for the ATSB that we try to adapt it here. And then the procedure and documentation. So this allows us to be able to differentiate whether there is procedure or whether there is the right information on the manual or the checklist. And then the last one is the environment. So it describes perhaps there's something wrong with the facility in the airport or the navigation aid. So in short, these are some of the results that we have found. So basically, the HMEP allows us to make comparisons between different accident database or accident happened in different countries. Thank you. So, yes.
Yeah, thank you for the insightful presentation. And do you have any questions here among the audience? Is there no questions? Okay, so Here's my question. Actually, I'm not that familiar with the kinds of accident approach or those kinds of things. So, I just wonder, which process did you conduct it to develop the framework or the hierarchy of the HMEP? Maybe
Okay.
could you please
Well,
explain it?
thanks, because this is one of the most important questions that we it's such a big challenge that we need to do. So actually, what we did is that we need to reference the important models, and then the most important focus is that how can we come up with mutual exclusive, okay, and then complete. So for mutual exclusive, then we have to have some foundations, for example, the human, machine, and then environment. These are never overlapping categories. And then, for example, the man, machine, environmental category. But then we also need to adapt what has been the convention in the aviation. So for aviation, then they got these terms such as organizational inference that has been used a lot in HVACs and ATSB, and then the people management that has been used in IOTA, and then technical failure that has been used in ATSB also. So procedural documentation, that is what we try to do here. That's new because I think most others, they either have checklists or they either have procedures, but then they never really combine these two as something that is should be put into together. And then environment, yes, they were in I think it's ATSB and IOTA too. But as I shown you earlier, is that majority of the models, they have part of it, but then they were too detailed in certain part of it. So then it was too much layer or too much overlapping in between different categories. And that was the whole idea, that we try to reduce the redundancy and then try to remove redundant categories and then try to make it very clear that they are overall just 5 orthogonal categories to be able to code all the helicopter accident. And that was the first trial. And then we hope to move on to the analysis of regular aircraft. We have done the technical failure for regular aircraft. And then, yeah, we're looking forward to publishing it. Yeah. Thanks. And thanks for your question. Yeah.
Thank you for your answer. And do you have other questions? Yeah, please come into the center and say through the mic. You're the first.
Okay. My question is, as we know, like human HVACs or other human error classification system have, at first it apply in the aviation industry, and then a lot of other industry like occupational safety or healthcare medicine try to learn from the system and apply on their own industry. Do you think the structure you propose also can let everybody, like every other industry, to switch those the structure or transfer this structure to their own?
Yeah,
industry?
beautiful. Yeah. Well, that's I think that's well, thank you for your question, because that's an excellent question. Honestly, for this model, I wasn't very confident about it at the beginning. When we submitted to journals, it was not a good luck at the beginning until I put the name HFix. And then actually, I think it was the author, Sheppel. Then he said, hey, don't use my name. But then I think it's good paper. They should, Applied Economics should publish it. So that was the good luck. So then that's the reason why we try to come up with a name, HMEP. And then we collaborate with some insurance company. That insurance company asked me to categorize their accident. And then they say, hey, can we come up with a copyright for the whole thing, HMEP? I said, no way, this cannot be copyright. So then they say, okay, if you don't want it, we want it. So they say, okay, let's collaborate. So luckily, I also got the name on the copyright. So then we applied it to the construction industry. to come up with SMS. I think one of my students is going to present it later on, maybe tomorrow morning. If you're interested, please come tomorrow morning. So then I believe that we can apply it to like you said, patient safety, hospital safety, but then you need to build in or you need to bring in your domain knowledge. And then so then you need to translate the terms into something that fits into the hospitals. Because currently, I think Taiwanese hospital, they have tried to use HVACs, but then I think it's similar to trying to, without changing the terms or without trying to adapt the scenario. I think it's a little bit not so straightforward or not so good in the sense that you want it to be intuitive, so then it can apply better. So okay.
Okay, so because of the time limit, we
Yeah.
have to move on to the next presentation. Thank you for the presentation. Give her hand again.
Thank you.
And the next presentation is Rainy Night Gliders, assessment of visual performance impact on of